State of VR Ohio College Green Project. Doug Bowie, December 2020. So I began this as an independent study project to explore how to use Unity and work in VR and things like that. And I took video of 8 locations on College Green in July, which is looking pretty good right now because it's warm in July and it's snowy today. I have created virtual environments for each of them, virtual scenes for each of those 8 locations. Actually, I've only done 3, but I have video to do 8. To understand more about how VR works and work with interactive objects and things like that. One of the primary goals is to create an environment that prospective students or prospective parents of prospective students can walk through and look at and interact with. There'll be some learning kiosks and hopefully some web terminals that will be able to provide video, audio, picture information about Ohio University as they wander through College Green in a picturesque location. Things I have completed since the last state of the project. I have a grabbable quacking ducky. This sounds like not a lot. It's in fact made me rethink how grabbable objects worked kind of at their base form. I was doing it one way, and apparently there's multiple ways to grab an object. Didn't know that, but one of them involved interacting with objects and making sounds do things, and the other one didn't. One of the things I had to give up when I did that, there was some distance grabbable where I could grab something and, like, you know, the Force in Star Wars, it would zip to my hand. Had to give that up in order to get the grabbable quacking to work, so you can walk over and pat the duck and it'll quack every time you pat it, kind of thing. So it sort of forced me to look at it. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually took a good bit of time to understand. Our squirrel is now animated, and instead of running in laps, I've set out a series of 8 waypoints, and it randomly runs between the different waypoints. It's having some animation issues right now, which I plan on flattening out. He tends to spin off into the air, but we're working on it. And the squirrel does animate. He runs between the different points, which required understanding mesh travel and randomization of variables as it ran between the different points and picking the next point and things like that. One of the larger wins is an interactive image gallery. I've collected images from the library of the same locations, and I was able to put up a screen with a tablet that you can pick up in VR and poke the pictures on the tablet, and it will present that picture up on the screen for viewing, so you can see, you know, what Cutler Hall looked like in 1895, or, you know, what College Gate looked like in 1994 snowstorm, or things like that. I've also implemented a randomized scripted system for ambient sounds that allows for different sound schemes at different locations on different timing intervals. So as you stand at the alumni gate, car noises can be heard on random intervals. The sound of car alarms beeping, you know, as people hit the button and lock their car. Cars going by with the sort of Doppler effect as it might go around the corner, those kinds of things. I implemented a randomized script to pull those sounds and play them at different intervals. There's bird noises that go with that because we're at College Green in the summer. There's a variety of bird noises that go with that. Future features that I'm looking to implement in the next round of this. I'd like to implement a web browser inside the VR experience, and that would allow us to bring in outside content without having to change the simulation itself. So without having to change the scene, we can update the website, we can update the content on there. I've done a little digging. It looks kind of complicated, but it'd be a big win because we can put it out, maybe make it look like a laptop or something, and you can poke different buttons on either side, sort of mouse style. We'd be able to control the content that they could get to and that kind of thing. But it would mean that we could keep it fresh and alive without having to go in and recompile and push it out to new VR headsets every time we wanted to make a change of some of the content. Did a little looking. I'd kind of like to add maybe some flying birds. Be kind of fun, something to add. Might link it to the ambient sound system, so that way as the birds fly past, they make noise. Not sure about that one. I've only done cursory reading on that. It should be similar to the squirrel. Speaking of the squirrel, I need to fix the squirrel so that it stops running in bizarre patterns and spinning in place. You'll see it in the demo here that I'm about to do. It goes to all of its different points, but it gets very unhappy about running into things, and I need to fix that, including the user, thereupon it bounces and does some extremely weird things. I'm really hoping to get it to where the squirrel will interact with the user and stop before it gets to the user and chitter at them and run to a different point or something like that. There's a variety of animations that are available. I'm just struggling to get those things glued together in a way that makes it look coherent. Need to change the image gallery, so that way right now what you'll see is when we go in, the tablet will have a bunch of thumbnails on it, but nothing shows on the big screen until you poke the first button and then it starts showing it. So it's a little confusing in that respect. And I'd really like the image gallery to show a default image when we start. So when you walk over and you look at the tablet and you see all the thumbnails, you look up and see that first image is the first image that's on the screen. Kind of makes it a little more obvious that, oh, I should be poking buttons on it and that kind of thing. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Stop. Demo time. And here we are at Alumni Gate. Back once again at Alumni Gate. You can see we have our menu for Bobcat Ride, which will take us to our 3 scenes. Right now we have our table full of objects that are grabbable. To make some changes to that, I had to remove the distance grabbable as it was interfering with several of my other issues that came with that. And I have since fixed my ducky. It now squeaks on command. I don't know if you can hear that. I suspect not. But it does now squeak on command, which is super nice. And you can interact it with other things. I'll eventually add some sounds for other stuff. My squirrel, as you can see, runs in mad patterns. It's a little confused. We can't figure out where the floor is. We're still sort of working on that one. But you can see it runs in a variety of patterns. Whoops! Variety of patterns here as it runs around, and it in fact makes noise if you get close enough. It doesn't enjoy it very much when you run into things. You can see it resets occasionally, and then it will bounce off of things like the table. But it does run. It can in fact do better when it's not trying to run backwards and upside down. Like I said, still working on that one. The big win here is the tablet, which we can see here, and I'm going to point my finger and I'll touch and I can change pictures. And I've selected pictures that go with the location. I can scroll down here on my tablet. Come on, tablet, scroll. There we go. And I can pick from a variety of pictures that I've gotten from the library, actually. The library did a very nice job of providing all sorts of interesting pictures. And we can go to each location, and there'll be a load here. We can see Squirrel reassumes his charge around the world. And we have a new tablet with new pictures. And you can see that we get different pictures depending on where we are. So, kind of exciting for that one. And of course, I've also created one for Class Gate. So we'll teleport there. And we'll see that pretty much the layout is the same for each one, with the differences being in the pictures at the moment. What I'd like to add in is some unique features for each location so that they can be a little more unique. You know, a table full of objects at each location is fun, but not terribly interesting. One of the future considerations I'd like to work on is a web browser, so that way we can bring in web content. We don't have to actually change the simulation. We can change the website and that kind of thing. I'd also like to set it up so that the imager here comes up with a default picture rather than it's blank, which I haven't figured out how to change yet. I'm assuming there's a way to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet. Give it enough time, though. I'm pretty sure I can figure it out. I'll lean over. Maybe you can hear the ducky. All right. Thanks. Thanks for taking the time to work with me on this project. It's really fun to do. It's exciting and interesting to learn this kind of stuff. And I look forward to doing more. Thanks.